Hey guys, it's Christine. Welcome back. Welcome if you're new here. I am a homeschooling mama of 3, and in today's video, I'm going to be sharing a 1-week homeschool update. If this is your first time here, I share homeschool content here on my channel, curriculum reviews, day in the life, just different tips that have helped me out. And so if that's your kind of thing, I would love it if you would subscribe. I am all about keeping things authentic and real with you. So I try and show some of the hard stuff along with the good stuff, and just give you a realistic view of what homeschooling is like, especially with 3 little kids. So I also share over on Instagram, so please come and follow me over there. I like to chat with a lot of you in my DMs there. So I feel like Instagram is a little bit more intimate in the sense that you can have more of those personal conversations, and just try and be honest over there as well, because a lot of the time you get like the highlight reels of these beautiful like homeschool flat lays and lovely days where the children are all playing nicely and together, and like my kids do that a lot of the time, but there are also many times where everyone's fighting and I'm stressed out and I'm not patient. And so if you want like the real along with the beautiful, just like come on over and follow me. So I will leave my name here somewhere for you to follow me, and I'll link it down in the description for you. But without further ado, let's talk about the first week of homeschool, because we have just started our homeschool year. Over here in New Zealand, our terms run through from February through to December. And so that's just kind of like a natural start for us because it's our summer here at the moment. And obviously we took a break over summertime. But also, we don't follow the school year, at least not this year. We're not going to. Last year I kind of did, but of course there was a whole pandemic, and so that kind of like messed up everybody's schedule, didn't it? So this year we're doing something a little bit different. We're doing 6 weeks on, 1 week off, and we're carrying on, and so we'll have a total of 6 terms this year. So I'm going to give you a 1-week update, and then I'm kind of planning on it. We'll see how it goes, but I'm planning on doing like an update at the end of every term just to let you know how things are going and ideas on it. So week 1, we completed our first week. We're doing 4-day school weeks, and on Fridays is like the house reset day. It's cleanup day. If baking needs to be done, it'll be done that day, that kind of thing. Maybe field trips, library days, that kind of stuff. With full like disclaimer, I am not a go out and do all the activities mum. That's just not me. I'm a homebody. I don't love having to go out and do a lot of stuff. Doing it with 3 really little kids is just stressful. And so we do a few things, but we don't do them very often. And it's very simple. So let's talk about it. My kids are 5, 4, and 2. My eldest will be 6 in March, so he's very close to turning 6. And actually, by the time this video has gone live, it probably is March. But he is really the only one that I am homeschooling. The other 2 just kind of fit in wherever. And let's be honest, the 2-year-old just does her own thing, and we have to like try and work around her a lot of the time. Of course, she has to give as well, but let's be honest, 2-year-olds can be hard. So it went really well. I was very happy with the first week of homeschool. It was hard, I'm not gonna lie, especially the first 2 days were really rough. But the first week was good overall. And that's something I really want to address in this video. It's a term that I've heard from 2 people that I really love to follow and encourage you to follow. The first is M is for Mama. She's over on Instagram. And she just shares, she's got 10 kiddos. So big family, and her like motto is hard is not the same thing as bad, and it's so true. And the other lady I heard that from, who I actually heard it from first, is Angela over at This Gathered Nest on YouTube, and she also has lots of kids. I'm forgetting how many she has now. Is it like 6 or 8? She has a lot of kids too, but she also has the same motto: hard is not the same thing as bad. And I just feel like in homeschooling and like in society in general, we kind of are taught and conditioned to feel like if something doesn't sit right with us and that it's difficult, that we shouldn't pursue it because it's wrong. And nothing could be further from the truth. And my own mother has like said to me before, and when I was growing up, like hard things are often the things that are the most worthwhile and are the things that are most worth pursuing. So if you are a new homeschool mom and you are finding homeschooling to be really hard and overwhelming, I'm just here to let you know that it doesn't mean that you're doing anything wrong, and that it doesn't mean that it's the wrong choice for your kids, because it is hard at the end of the day, but it doesn't mean that it's bad. And not every day and every moment is going to be hard, And so I just want you to remember that as I'm going through this. And to be absolutely honest with you, the hardest part of homeschooling in the first week was managing my toddler. It wasn't the homeschooling. And I think all of us can kind of say that the hard part of homeschooling is not the curriculum, it's not the schoolwork, it's dealing with humans. Because we're imperfect and we're sinful and we choose to do wrong, whether it's you as the mother or your kids throwing a tantrum or being whiny or like, I don't want to do this. That's the hard part of homeschooling. It's the parenting aspect, okay? So I know I'm like rambling on and not actually talking about how the week went, but I feel like this is so important to say because I've seen so many people say it lately. When homeschooling is not going well, sometimes it's more important to focus less on the school and more on the heart work with your kids. Get that sorted and worked on really well, and then you can go back to doing the curriculum and the schoolwork and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, and that's been said by many seasoned homeschool mamas. So that's not coming from me because I really am still a newbie. That's not coming from me so much as it is from other homeschool mamas. Anyway, so I feel like I just went on a whole tangent there. But during the first week of homeschool, that's what it was like. It was hard, but it wasn't bad. I'm really happy with our curriculum choices thus far. My children really enjoyed them. I was nervous about going back to reading lessons with my son because he struggled with that last year, and it was definitely the most contentious sort of area of school for us. But he actually did really well, and I think that so much of it with him is not that he's unable to do the work, it's just sometimes a lack of confidence. He's a firstborn like I am, and we don't like to do things unless we know we can succeed at them and do really well at it. And so when we can't, it's hard. And ultimately, it's seated in pride, and that's what we have to deal with. But also just being okay with not being good at something, and because that's the only way you get better at it, is like practicing and failing and then doing better and, all that kind of stuff. So, that was the thing I was most nervous about, but it went really well. We are doing a lot more enrichment studies this year. Last year we didn't do any formal science, and we kind of did history, but it was really just me reading aloud Story of the World, and we dwindled on that by the end of the year. And we didn't really do art or anything like that. So this year I've added a lot more of that. You can see our curriculum choices for this year. I'll link them in a video here for you. We're doing a lot more reading aloud because the enrichment studies that I picked are Charlotte Mason inspired, or actually just like pure Charlotte Mason in their method. And of course she taught from living books, and so we're doing a lot more read alouds, and my voice was so croaky after the first day because I had just been reading, and so that was definitely something different. Also different for my kids because while they are used to being read aloud to, it was a lot more than what we're used to. So it took a little bit of adjusting, but really the two big kids did very well with it. And I had them do things like their handwriting before, did their handwriting during reading. And I did some of our read aloud over breakfast, so that helped as well. We switched our read aloud. So I had picked two for this term. I had picked Five Little Peppers and How They Grew and The Enchanted Wood. And The Enchanted Wood is amazing. That's by Enid Blyton. Love her books. Like, all of my childhood nostalgia is wrapped around Enid Blyton novels. Like, they're just the best. So the kids have loved that. They did not like Five Little Peppers and How They Grew. And I'm not someone who just like changes things real quick because my kids don't like it. Because sometimes it takes a minute to get into a book, but I could just tell with this one, I think it's going to be lovely and we will come back to it in like a year or two. But the language was just a bit too advanced for them and they were not connecting with it. So it wasn't just that they didn't like it, it was that they weren't connecting with it and I could tell like they were just glazing over. So I ended up switching that out to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory and they're loving that. And I'm loving it actually. I've never read the book. I enjoyed the movie or movies. And so we're enjoying that. So that's one switch that we made in the first week. Like after the first 2 days, I was like, yep, let's switch that. But aside from that, we've done everything as I've planned it out. And I think I'm happy with everything for this year thus far. And we are using the Good and the Beautiful language arts, and my son's doing really well with it. We're still on level K, and that seems like the perfect level for him right now. We're using their math, level 1, and he's doing brilliant with that. Preschool with my 4-year-old hasn't really happened at all because, I don't know, she's not asking for it really. And I'm not feeling like she needs it so much. So we will go over her the alphabet, and she's done a few games. She's been doing some reading eggs, but really I am not doing anything formal with her so far. She's doing handwriting because she loves that, and it's something she can basically do on her own. She's joining in on all of our group subjects, but I haven't sat down and done anything formal with her, and I just don't have any intention to unless she asks for it. But of course, literally week 1. We're at the beginning of the year. Who knows how the year will unfold. And I'm just open to doing whatever she wants. And my 2-year-old, okay, so I did a video where I shared the toddler busy bins that I put together. I can link that for you here. I've kind of figured out what works for her and what doesn't. And she loves doing like pom-poms, anything to do with pom-poms, and like sensory play and water activities she loves, and that keeps her quiet. I've got to be really careful not to give her activities that will frustrate her in any way, because that ruins everything. She won't sit there and do it then, obviously. So puzzles, I mean, she's only 2, but anything like puzzles, like magnet stuff, she can get really mad about because if she can't get it to work, then she just gets mad, and it kind of defeats the whole point of having those activities for her to keep her occupied. So I've got to make sure that there are things she can do independently that she's happy with. And so like sensory play has been good. Play-Doh does kind of work, but she gets mad if she can't get things. Like, she's kind of me. She has my son was like this too at her age. He would get really frustrated if he couldn't figure stuff out, and she's very much like that. So, yeah, it's still very hit and miss with her, and some days no shame, she gets the iPad with Leapfrog Letter Factory on it, and I'm like, hey, she's learning her letter sounds, okay? But it gives us like half an hour of time to get stuff done, and it works. And so, like, no shame in my game. I'm happy to use screen time when it is working for our benefit. So that just happened on like 1 or 2 of the days. So anyway, that's my very jumbled, lengthy, this was supposed to be a really quick video, and it clearly isn't, but that is my update on how week 1 of homeschooling went. And I will just say that I'm super glad that I decided to do a 4-day school week, because I was donezo. By Friday, I was so mentally exhausted. I had forgotten about how mentally taxing it is. And we are done by 12 o'clock every day. We are doing a lot more school. Like, it's longer than it was. It's more like 2.5 hours as opposed to like the hour and a half it was last year, which is fine. It's still gentle, and I'm like totally fine with that. It's not like sit down book work that whole time anyway. But yeah, that is the first week update, and I will do a full term update because I'm already thinking about next year, because don't we all do that as homeschool moms, and curriculum we're going to use and how we're going to change things after week 1. Week 1, people. I'm a planner. I can't help it. Sorry. Anyway, any questions you have for me, leave down in the comments. Also, come check us out on Instagram, and you can like always DM and ask me questions there. I'm happy to answer. I'm also thinking of doing like maybe a Q&A video or like an assumptions video. I don't know. I've never really done anything like that before, because I've always felt like no one's going to ask me anything, and it just feels embarrassing. But I might ask like that question over on Instagram and like save any questions that you put there. I'll save there and then do a video over here. So go ahead and check me out. I feel like that's such a weird thing to say. Come and follow me on Instagram, and I will go ahead and ask questions there, and yada yada yada. I'm going to stop rambling now. Okay, thank you so much for watching. And if you're here at the end of this video, good on you. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness could reach